Yes. to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. If I can ask everybody to bow your heads and have a moment of silence for the 9/11. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dissler?
Here.
Mr. Green?
Here.
Ms. Heckman? Here. Ms. Husak? Here. Mr. Keegan?
Here.
Mr. Kern?
Here.
Ms. Culp? Here. Ms. Martineau? Here. Mr. Fedorcha?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Okay. As far as public comment goes, as always, if it's an item on the agenda and you have signed up to speak to it, it'll be addressed at the agenda time. If it's an item that's not on our agenda, all comments then are made at the end of the meeting. Okay? Along with that, as per Board Policy 903, all participants must provide a period of 5 minutes for each public participation. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Civility and decorum, I do have a statement to make regarding that. The district officials and members of the public are expected to conduct themselves with civility, and to afford each other a measure of dignity and respect. Shouting, personal insults, and attacks of any kind will be considered disruptive, and if it disrupts the flow of the meeting, it is going to be considered out of order. So just so you know that I will consider anything outburst will be considered out of order. Members of the public are to direct the comments to the board as in its entirety, cannot single out a board member for response, nor can a member of the public address a specific issue with other members of the community who may be present at the meeting or who are virtually present, as this is a virtual and hybrid meeting. In addition, members of the community shall not bring signs, placards to the meeting, and shall not applaud or engage in any actions that could impede another community member's rights to make their comments at the meeting. At the discretion of the board president, individuals who are disruptive shall be subject to removal from the venue of the board meeting, and unless the disruption ends of that individual, they may return if they so choose. Is that understood by everyone? So in case I gavel you, you'll understand why. All right. I apologize if I can't hear me with the mask on, but I'll try. Anyway, review of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Here.
Do you want to see if anybody wants to speak to agenda items?
Oh, okay, other than who's on here?
Yeah, just the ones that want to speak.
Okay, I can do that. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments, questions, or changes? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Special board reports. Mrs. Husak, Lehigh Community College, Intermediate Unit.
We are back in classes, all doing well, keeping our students and staff in our buildings. Our next meeting is scheduled for this coming next Monday, September 20th. That is at 6:30 at the IU building. Again, that's all I have to report this evening, Mr. Fedorcha.
Thank you. Thank you. Lehigh Career and Technical Institute, we are also back in session. Right now, we are, as every other school in Lehigh County, because we follow the direction of the 9 school districts, so we also are enforcing the state mandates of mask wearing by our students. That's about all we have right now, and I will go to legislative, Mrs. Heckman.
Thank you, Mr. Fedorcha. Pennsylvania Representative Sonny issued a memo for legislation he is introducing to ensure that charter school payments are accurate. This is a key recommendation from PSBA's Charter School Task Force, and PSBA is asking school officials to, well, really school officials and anyone, to reach out to their representatives to sign on as co-sponsors to his upcoming bill. PDE released Volume 5 of the ESSER Extra, which is a newsletter that gives extra information to school entities as they continue to develop and implement plans regarding their federal American Rescue Plan money. Obviously, that is something we're going to talk about at the board meeting this evening. The U.S. Department of Education sent a letter to state and local partners outlining questions and answers which provide guidance on special education requirements during the pandemic, specifically geared toward ADA topics. So that is available from the U.S. Department of Education. And a continuing reminder that PSBA's Advocacy Day is October 14th. Again, it is virtual this year, so if you have any interest in the topics or participating, contact me. That's all.
Thank you. Any questions for Mrs. Heckman? Okay, moving on to LTRIC, Mr. Green.
No report this evening, thank you.
Okay, thank you. We can do that, yeah. Okay. Right now, before I go on with the agenda, I am going to address the fact that we do have a few people who would like to make public comment. And if it's on an agenda item, we will take it as the agenda item comes up. If it's not an agenda item, we will put it off till the end of the meeting. So I guess I just need to ask Mr. King.
Not at this time, actually.
Okay.
Mr. Crispin.
Who?
Mr. Crispin, Chad Crispin.
Mr. Crispin?
I'll wait to the end, sir.
Okay. Schaefer?
Mr. Schaefer, Ms. Schaefer?
I'll wait till the end.
Okay.
Katja Bender.
I can wait to the end as well.
Okay. And one more. Jamie Graver? Can you wait?
Yep.
Okay.
I just wanted to say I got here a little later. I apologize for that, but I would like to speak at the end as well.
Okay, thank you.
She didn't sign in, I don't.
No, she did. She said.
She did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
All right. We shall then move on. Committee reports, they are in your packet. We have had our meetings this past week. Student reports, student representative, Ms. Craddock and Ms. Doherty.
Would you like us to stand from here?
You can, yes.
Okay. I'll start. Good evening, everybody. Oh, my favorite dog words. So our report was our state school, during which we had our class assemblies and the awards for everybody who had perfect attendance. So congratulations to all those students. I know it's very, very hard. I haven't been able to do it myself. We also had open house, which was September 8th. Daycare is provided for the kids, thanks to Mrs. Tiedemann, so thank you for that. That was very generous. There was decent attendance for that, and I think it was a good crowd because, you know, it's just really nice to be able to get back out there and do things that we haven't been able to do in a long time. So, right before the open house, we had city council induction. So if anybody doesn't know what that is, it's just, you know, you say an oath and you get officially inducted into city council, which we haven't been able to do that for 2 years now because of COVID. So that was also like a great experience. That's about it for me. I'm gonna pass it up to Danielle.
Hi everyone, I'm Danielle. I'm the new school board student representative and I'm a junior. So I just wanted to say I have a few things. The upperclassmen officers, which are the senior and juniors, we've been helping to get the underclassmen, class officers and advisors because they haven't had like any money raised or anything for the past 2 years for the sophomores and starting this year for the freshmen. Thanks to Dr. Gonzalez and Mr. McCarty, they volunteered to be the freshman advisors. And recently we found out that Mrs. Dunham and Ms. Wilder are going to be the sophomore class advisors. And they are going to help them raise money and such. Recently, just this past week, we got the applications out to the underclassmen, and I'm pretty sure they were due today for them, so we'll get that on the road and start to get money raised for them. Picture day was today, September 13th. Financial aid night is on Thursday, September 16th at 6:30, and I'm pretty sure it goes until 8 p.m. And on September 27th, there's meetings with seniors and sophomores for caps and gowns, and then a class spring meeting with Jostens for the sophomores. And for student council, we're working on homecoming events such as like the parade, the homecoming dance, Spirit Week, and just homecoming court. And we're hoping that we can get those events together. As of now, we have the green light for that. And I have our athletic report. Boys soccer in their league are 0-1, and overall are 0-4. Boys cross country in their league are 0-5. Girls cross country in their league is 3-2. Girls soccer in their league is 2-0. Paige and I are both on the soccer team, and overall our record is 3-1. Field hockey in league they're 2-1, and our overall 2-1. And for football they're 1-1. That's all I have. Does anyone have any questions regarding any of the school board stuff? Okay.
Any questions for our students?
Welcome.
Thank you.
Before we go on, though, this is a fun part of my job.
Yeah.
We would like to swear you in as school representatives to the school board.
Can you come up here?
Is it both of us or just Dave?
Come up here.
Just
Yep,
Danielle.
you'll both come up. I'll start with Ms. Craddock first. I'm going in alphabetical order. Okay, so can you raise your right hand for me?
Yes.
Okay. I, Paige Craddock,
I, Paige Craddock,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
to support, defend, and obey the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and I will discharge the ceremonial duties of my honorary office with fidelity. That's a mouthful. That I will discharge
that I will discharge
the ceremonial duties
the ceremonial duties
of my honorary office
of my honorary office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Ms. Doherty. Okay, I, Danielle Doherty,
I, Danielle Doherty,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge
and that I will discharge
the ceremonial duties
the ceremonial duties
of my honorary office
of my honorary office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Okay. All right, moving on. We will now go to our Solicitors Report.
I have none. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Tucker.
Thank you, Mr. Fedorcha. At the board members' places this evening is a summary of our ESSER 1, 2, and 3 grants through August 31st of 2021. As reported previously, our allocation for ESSER number 1, which is also known as the ESSER CARES Act, was $324,575, and that grant has been fully expended. Northern Lehigh School District's allocation for ESSER 2, which is also known as ESSER CRISA Act, was $1,463,002. To date, we have spent $246,765, have $362,324 encumbered, and have $844,264 on our proposed spending list, which leaves $9,649 undetermined or left to be spent. Some of the items on our proposed spending list include upgrades to the middle school kitchen, hiring a social worker, software platforms, and various computer equipment replacement parts if needed. ESSER number 2 needs to be expended by September 30th of 2023. Northern Lehigh School District's allocation for ESSER 3, which is also known as the ESSER ARP Act, was $2,948,680, of which 20%, or $589,736, must be spent to address learning loss caused by the pandemic. To date, we have spent $349,385, have $87,845 encumbered, and have $2,038,224 on our proposed spending list, which leaves $473,226 undetermined or left to be spent. Staff salaries and additional summer learning opportunities for the next 3 summers are items that are on our proposed spending list. ESSER number 3 needs to be expended by September 30th of 2024. If you turn to the next page, recently we were notified about the release of a second allocation to the ESSER number 3 grant. Information regarding that is on the last page of the packet at the board members' places, and the total allocation expected is $229,342. These grants are much more prescriptive in what we can spend the money on. There is a 5% set aside, or $163,816 for learning loss, which is broken down further. 30% of those monies, or $49,145, must be spent on social, emotional, and mental health support for students. 10% of those monies, or $16,382, must be spent on social, emotional, and mental health support for staff. And 8% of those monies, or $13,105, must be spent on reading support and improvement. Additionally, there is a 1% set aside of the total allocation, or $32,763, for after-school programs, and 1% set aside of the total allocation, or $32,763, for summer enrichment. These grants must be submitted by the end of November in order for us to receive the monies associated with them. We will continue to review and release information as we receive it. Lastly, I would just like to remind all the stakeholders in the Northern Lehigh School District community that their input regarding our ESSER grants is welcomed, and that there are a variety of ways that they can participate in the decision-making process for these grants. If you have any recommendations, you can contact me directly or share your ideas at one of our committee meetings of the board. That's all I have for this evening, Mr. Fedorcha. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Dr. Stoker? Okay, moving on. Mr. Lane, Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Fedorcha. First, I'd like to say congratulations to Danielle and welcome to the board as a junior representative. You are in good hands under Paige's mentorship, and next year you will be in the same role mentoring a new incoming student member. So again, congratulations and thank you. A few words about the opening of school. Today is actually our first day of our first full week of school. The past 2 weeks, of course, being 4-day weeks due to the Labor Day holiday. I'd like to thank everyone for their cooperation leading up to the start of the school year and through the first 2 shortened weeks. I'd also like to thank all involved in the planning for a successful opening of the school year. I will share that since the start of fall sports, we have seen COVID cases in the district. Since the start of fall sports, we've had 30 students, K through 12, test positive. That comes out to a percentage of 1.97% of our student enrollment. As for employees, for the same time frame, we've had 4 employees test positive, which is 1.55% of our total district employee membership. At the end of each day, under district announcements on the district website, there is a COVID tracker, and that's updated at the end of each day. So you can continue to track any trends by visiting the website. Usually around 4 p.m. it's updated by that time. Next, I would like to go over our third day enrollment numbers. Each school year, districts have to report their third day enrollment with the understanding usually by the third day of school, the enrollments and withdrawals have kind of settled down. This year is a little bit of an anomaly because we've had so many people enrolling their children right up, honestly, through the end of last week. This week, it's starting to settle down the number of, or I should say slow down the number of enrollments. As of the third day, which was for us, September 1st, Peters Elementary had 321 children. Slatington Elementary School had 489 students. Northern Lehigh Middle School had 244 students. And Northern Lehigh High School had 465 students. That's inclusive of students that are enrolled throughout the various grade levels in Bulldog Academy. In total, that is 1,519 students. That is up 10 from the third day of school last school year. I'd like to spend some time recognizing one of our teachers and one of our administrators. I'd like to start off first by recognizing Ms. Jennifer Butz. Ms. Butz is our elementary physical and education teacher. I'm sure most of you know her or your children have had her. She has been selected as the SHAPE PA 2021 Professional Honor Award winner. So SHAPE PA is the state organization for health and physical education teachers. She's been a member of that organization and a leader in that organization for, honestly, as long as I've known her. The award is given to a member who has demonstrated distinguished service and scholarship in all the allied fields. Ms. Butz will be honored on Thursday, November 11th, 2021 at the SHAPE PA Annual Conference located at Seven Springs Mountain Resort in Champion, PA. Congratulations to Ms. Butz on receiving this award. I don't believe she's with us this evening. Okay. Next, I would like to recognize our new Slatington Elementary School principal, Mr. Todd Briner. He's already receiving awards. Mr. Briner is being inducted actually this evening into the Tobacco School District Athletics Hall of Fame. Mr. Briner is a 3-sport inductee, playing football, basketball, and track and field as a student athlete at his time there, and he will be memorialized in their Hall of Fame moving forward. Congratulations to Mr. Briner on his induction this evening. And that concludes my report, Mr. Fedorcha.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Lane? Business Managers Report.
The only thing is we have our local auditors coming in next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to audit our end of year, June 30th, 2021. So we will follow up with the board once we get our full audit conducted.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. We shall move on. There was an executive session this evening for personnel items. We also had a special executive committee meeting at 6 o'clock held on August 28th, or 26th, I'm sorry, for personnel items also. We will now move into the agenda items. Personnel. I will accept a motion to approve the personnel items A through O. A through O. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
All those, any questions or comments?
Mr. President, I need to abstain from D.
D.
Yeah, D, from D, if you just please note that this is the thing. I was going to do it later on, but I'll do it now too. I'm going to need to abstain also from F5, F5.
And I am
Okay.
2, 4, 6, 7. I'm
Say-
D7.
Sorry. Okay, with that in mind, we'll record that when we get to it, but I will now take, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries, and there were 2 abstentions to parts of the motion. Moving on then, I will accept the motion to approve items A and B of the policy. A and B. Do I have a motion to do so?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions on the policies? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Conferences, we have a few conferences this month. I will accept the motion to approve the conferences A through D. A through D. Do I have a motion?
Here.
Do I have a second?
Here.
Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Curriculum and instruction. There is a few motions there. So I will accept a motion to approve A through C of the curriculum and instruction. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Is there any old business? Hearing none, we will move on to new business. I will accept a motion to approve the new business item A.
I have to also, again, abstain, I'm sorry, for, was that not, A1?
Oh, here. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so noted. Oh, do we have a motion?
No.
Nope, you said
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the new business items?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries with the note to the abstention. Moving on to new business item B. Do I have a motion? Oh, I can't do that yet. We can't do it that way. We gotta, what item B is for us to, as board members, to select the officers of PSBA. This upcoming year, the president will be David Heim, who is from the Parkland School District. He will be the president. We elected him last year. I will accept a motion for any of these candidates for president-elect, vice president, zone representative, or trust and the forum steering committee. There is 2 people running for a few of them. So if we can take, let's start with the president. Do I have a motion for either one of those? If there is no motion, I will make a motion to approve David Schapp. Are there any other nominations? Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carries. For the vice president, there is only one. Do I hear any other nominations? Okay. All those in favor of the vice president, Allison Mathis, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. For the vice president, East Zone representative, there is only one name there. Is there anybody else to be nominated? Seeing none, all those in favor of Mr. Brown signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. The insurance trust, we are to vote for 3. There are 3 names there. Is there any additional? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the Forum Steering Committee is a 2-year term, and we need to vote for 3. There are 4 names. 4 names. Is there anyone who would like to move 3 names? Hearing none, I will move the first 3, which would be Jennifer Davidson, Deanna Lancenes, and Bethany Ziegler. Any others? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. I will now accept a motion to approve the financial items A through D. A through D. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions on any of the financial items? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Anything legal? Anyone?
No.
No. Thank you. Correspondence?
None this evening.
Nothing. All right, moving on then. Information, the minutes of the Carbon Lehigh Intermediate Unit, the LCTI and L-Tri-C were in your packets for your perusal. At this time, we now will look to the audience and the recognition of guests, and we will start with the first one on my list here, Mr. King.
I don't have anything this evening.
You're passing?
I'm passing.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chrisman?
Evening, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing?
Good, and you, sir?
Living a dream, one nightmare at a time. So, I don't know, do you want me to, my name and where I'm from, or?
Please do that, for the record.
Chad Chrisman, Route 873, Slatington. Resident here, I'm a alumni, class 03. I have my son here who's an 8th grader. Come here for a couple of reasons, just to keep up to date on what's going on, specifically with the latest masking orders. I'm sure some of y'all have seen some videos of this exact demonstration I'm about to do. This is a confined space parts per million meter. What this does is it measures the amount of toxins in the air. And if you're in a confined space, see right now, everything's good, everything's green. If you're in a confined space and this alarm goes off, you must vacate that area immediately, or you're in danger of health or death. Okay? I'm going to take this meter. See, right now it's all good right now. Everything's good. I'm not hiding anything. I'm going to stick this meter inside my mask, and we're going to see what happens. It's flashing red because my O2 level, carbon monoxide, escalated to dangerous levels. This is what we're subjecting our kids to for 8+ hours a day. Now let that sink in. This is a confined space meter used for utility workers in ditches, doing any kind of utility work. When this goes off, they must get out. No ifs, ands, or buts. This just went off within 3 seconds of being under my mask. Okay? Now, I understand you guys are in a really tough spot with having to adhere to the state as to what they're mandating, ordering. But make no mistake about it, these mandates and orders are not law. Okay? Here we are, a year and a half into a 2-week curve. Okay, and there's a lot of variables that can go into this. But we're just getting tired of the whole situation. We're tired of it all. There's a lot of people that can't be here because of work, sports, or other prior engagements. So we gotta stand here, we gotta be their voice, and we gotta stand up for our children, because it wasn't too long ago during the, I believe it was the August meeting, when Governor Tom Wolf came out and said he's leaving it up to individual districts. Well, a lot has changed since then. Like, it has changed almost daily or hourly about this whole situation. Now, since he's made that statement, it almost feels like he's seen how many school districts, ours included, that left masking optional to students and parents. And he could no longer make an order to mandate masks, so he had his Department of Health do it. Okay? Now, we're saying this is about scientific data. Exactly what scientific
45
data?
seconds.
I'm sorry?
45 seconds left.
The average age of a COVID death in Lehigh County, according to Lehigh County Coroner's death, is 80.1 years old. The average life expectancy, according to seniorliving.org, is 79 and a half. We have 814 deaths since April 2020. 57% of them were in assisted living facilities.
15 seconds.
All I'm saying is, I wish you guys would have a backbone, let us parents make the decisions for our children, and end the nonsense. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. And also, thank you for the demonstration. That was very interesting. Moving on to the next. Mr. Shaver?
Not at this time.
Okay. Ms. Bender?
Good evening. I want to start by saying I understand that all school boards in our state have been put in a really horrific situation. And I don't envy you one bit in having to deal with everything that's going on right now. My concern is that we as a state are opening a potential Pandora's box. And I want to speak to the board tonight to make sure that you're aware of this concern that I have when it comes to any future decisions you may be making. We consistently use the terminology, keeping our children safe. But if this becomes an excuse for creating blanket mandates across the state, how does this guarantee that we are not mandating things that are not actually keeping anyone safe in the future? COVID-19 is a real illness. It has taken the lives of many people. However, our children are the least likely to have severe illness or complications from this virus, and they are even less likely to die. However, but it seems that our children are the ones that our state is placing the most restrictions upon, while the majority of adults do not have to abide by similar mandates and rules throughout their day. So I ask, is this really about the safety of our children? For example, according to PennDOT, every 33 seconds, a child under the age of 13 is involved in an automobile accident. The number 2 is the number of children under 13 who are killed every single day in 2016 while riding in cars, SUVs, pickups, and vans. At the same time, 82% of children under age 4 in Pennsylvania who did not sustain an injury in a car crash were restrained in a proper car seat. But are our schools inspecting every parent's car to ensure that children are properly restrained in order to keep the children safe? No. Parents are given the choice to decide how they restrain their children in the car. In addition to Pennsylvania has laws and also recommendations, a word that we are all too familiar with these days, for keeping our children safe. I'm only going to use the examples for school-age children because that's what's applicable here. But the Pennsylvania state law states that 4 to 8-year-olds must be restrained in an appropriate booster seat, and that children 8 years and older must be in a seatbelt. Again, are we inspecting these cars to ensure that parents are doing what they need to do to keep children safe? No, we're allowing parents to make the choice. My personal favorite is the state recommendation that all children through the age of 12 do not sit in the front seat of a car. Is anyone making sure that children under the age of 13 are not in the front seat of a car in order to ensure their safety, even though this is a state recommendation? Are our schools concerned about this? No. Parents are allowed to make the choice. In the same manner, parents should be allowed to make the choice for what is best for their children in all aspects of health and wellness. Does every parent always make the best decision? Maybe not. Do they think they are making the best decision? Most of the time, yes. In addition, in the 2009-2010 flu season, 282 children died of the flu. In a regular year, about 150 children die from the flu. We've never required our children to wear masks to keep them safe from this very real illness that affects children and it can be a threat. So how much of this is really about keeping the children safe, and how much of it is just about making people feel more comfortable because there's a visual sign that somebody is trying to do something. We can never eliminate all risks in life. It's impossible. For decades, we have recognized that there's no way to completely eliminate the risk of the flu, which is why we don't all walk around in a mask every flu season. So my question to you is this: are we really doing everything with all of these mandates to keep the children safe, or are we doing it because we are afraid of our state government? Because if it's the latter, that is not the America that I learned about in Pennsylvania public schools as a child, and it is not the America I want my children to grow up in. So as you make your decisions in the future as a board, I ask you to remember those who elected you and their wishes.
10 seconds.
Because you don't work for the government, you work for the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bennett. Okay, I believe we've covered everyone. No, I'm sorry. Ms. Graver.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lauren Herzog. My son goes to Peters. I would just like to address the mask mandates also. I think that it is important to respectfully note that every single person in this room believes in science. I believe that to be a fact. I do believe that using the phrases anti-maskers, anti-vaxxers, don't believe in science is ignorant, divisive, and quite honestly helpful to nobody. Every parent in this room who, like myself, believes masking should be a choice has probably done a lot of research on their own on the matter. Our research doesn't end when Fauci stops speaking or a CNN anchor finishes a broadcast, or when the CDC flips its data again. It simply means that we have dug beyond what the mainstream media wants us to hear. I personally have found many different studies and articles which show masking to be more harmful than good, and I'm more than happy to share them with anybody who would be interested. That being said, I'm wondering if we're all looking at the same data. Children 0 to 19 years of age have a 99.973% chance of surviving the virus. The fear-mongering surrounding this is astounding to me. If anyone's been paying attention the last year and a half, you'll recognize these organizations have been historically wrong in their reporting. I have found notorious flaws and holes in their research and have come to the realization that the people giving us the guidance are lining their pockets by these organizations. That is public knowledge. The science is bought and paid for. The fact that you can only research one side of things and the fact that you're not allowed to ask questions should be concerning to every American, regardless of whatever your political affiliation is. You can wear 1 or 12 masks if you choose to, and I will politely stay in my own lane and respect that. That is your right as an American. However, my choices and my freedoms do not end where your fear begins. What our governor did repulses me. We voted to strip him of his powers back in May. He went above legislature. This mandate has no grounds to stand. He is playing political games with our children, and I do not consent. I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery, and I will not subject my children to this lunacy. As a school board, you are the last line of defense for our children. Children who wore masks for 7 hours a day came home with higher levels of CO2 than safely allowed for any grown adult. It's also important to note that these masks have been tested and came back positive for staph infection, traces of fecal matter, parasites, mold, and fungus. A year ago, this topic wouldn't have even been up for debate. However, given the recent discoveries, I have to stand strong in my convictions. I believe forcefully masking our children is harmful in many ways. There has been 0 studies of the long-term effects of what this will do to our children psychologically in the long run. Masking our children causes mental and emotional trauma well beyond what we know yet, and I'm not comfortable using my child as a science experiment. I cannot imagine how mentally detrimental this is on our children. Making our children the burden that we as adults are responsible for is reckless and abusive. Since when do we start sacrificing our children to bear the burden of adults? What a backwards world it is. It is our job to protect our children, and we need to do it how we see it best fit. Children are not cut from the same cloth. What about our children on the spectrum, or children with Down syndrome, or children who just have sensory disorders? What about those that don't have an actual diagnosis? but are quirky. My son fits that description. And to just assume that this is fine for everyone's kid because it's what we're supposed to do is dangerous. Children that are 5 years old have spent a third of their lives being muzzled. That is a third of their life they haven't been able to see human emotion from their beloved peers and teachers. We have gone from 2 weeks to slow the spread to mask up or you can't work, mask up or you can't attend school,
1 minute.
mask up or you can't travel. If you don't see a problem with this, respectfully, you're part of the problem. They are inhibiting our freedoms as American citizens. It's our responsibility as parents to secure the free will of our children, to allow them access to education and experiences, to allow them to think for themselves, to allow them to breathe freely. It is our responsibility to speak for our children when they can't be heard themselves. We are the role models and we need to start acting like it. To act as if
30 seconds.
medical professionals are only supporting one side of the science is inaccurate. Countless doctors and nurses have voiced their experiences and knowledge. It is important to note that just because not all medical professionals support the same perspective does not make them any less valued, respectable individual. This belief system
10
should be
seconds.
carried through to our day-to-day interactions. Our country is built on the premise of freedom. We are designed to be free thinkers. We are designed to voice our feelings, beliefs, our knowledge, our experiences. Take what you will from the people in power, those in medical profession, and your own neighbor. And do not forget you are capable of thinking for yourself.
Thank you. Time's up.
Ms. Herzog, can you tell me which municipality you live in?
I'm in Slavington.
Slatington, thank you. And I believe we missed
You missed somebody?
Ms. Graver.
I can ask her. I said her before this one come down.
I'm sorry.
You want to speak, please?
Sorry?
Do you want to speak?
I don't want to speak, I just have a question.
Sure.
I would like to know if you're going to be participating in the Ginkgo Bioworks program.
I'm sorry,
Seems
the
like you don't know what I'm talking about, though.
Ginkgo Bioworks program.
It is the company that Governor Wolf hired to come into our schools and COVID test our children and vaccinate.
At this time, there are no plans to do on-site testing.
I hope it stays that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
We have two.
We have two statements that need to be read, so if, I will look to you, Gail, please.
Sure. I will read them in order of when they came in to Mr. Link and the school board.
These are two that are on virtual, and we did say, if you know, if you were going to be virtual and you wanted to speak, you had to put it in writing ahead of time. That's what you're going to be hearing now from the two people. Thank you.
This is from Justin Jackowitz, received today at 9:53 a.m. Mr. Link and School Board, my name is Justin Jackowitz and I live at 6465 Woodbury Drive, Slatington, PA. I wish I could deliver this message in person, but our school board and superintendent have implemented a discriminatory policy of mask wearing for every attendee at this board meeting. No surprise, as the Northern Lehigh community's voice were censored and silenced during most of the COVID-19 pandemic, but not allowing public speaking even when the meetings were streamed on YouTube. The United States and local government exist on the premises of democracy and people having a voice in the decisions being made. Our school board during the August board meeting chose to eliminate our voices by allowing Mr. Link to become the sole decision maker in terms of COVID-19 and the health and safety plan. As other local school boards and communities have had public debates and influenced on how the district approaches unjust state mandates, our superintendent makes last-minute unilateral decisions the day before our children left before Labor Day break. As people of Pennsylvania, we voted to end the one-sided control of Governor Wolf on May 18th and to do the same with Mr. Link. The main job of school board directors is to provide oversight over the superintendent and the school district, and right now we have neither. Our school board needs to vote tonight to reassert their control and remove Mr. Link's ability to manipulate and change the health and safety plan. Countless school districts have listened to their constituents and went against the illegal mask mandate or provided their families an avenue for exemption, and we need to do the same. As I stated during the August meeting, there is no state of emergency in Pennsylvania. In terms of decision-making throughout the COVID-19 period, Mr. Link and the school board caved to hysteria and fear and have not made rational choices to best protect our children. I have asked Mr. Link and the school board on many occasions to show, number one, where is the data, studies, and evidence that COVID-19 is spreading in schools, specifically our school district. Number two, where is the data, studies, and evidence to show masks work to prevent the spread of COVID-19? Without providing any of this proof, our school should never close its doors and never required students to wear masks. Mr. Link claimed that he has a direct line to the Pennsylvania Department of Health in a Times News article, so where is the evidence to back up this irrational decision-making? When my right to know request is processed, we will see how much communication Mr. Link had with the PA Department of Health and Education, and if he fought for our children, or if it was all a big lie. As educators, we are supposed to be researchers, critical thinkers, and pursuers of the truth, and yet the decisions Mr. Link and the entire school board have made go against our society's belief of educational principles. I ask the school board to actually do their job and provide oversight of Mr. Link and the school district, or resign tonight and allow for other community members to step up when you choose to step out. I also ask Mr. Link to be a leader and not a follower, or unjust state mandates, not laws, or he should also resign tonight and we will find someone who wants to actually make decisions based on what is really best for our children. I will end with this. All of our school administrators, teachers, staff, and bus drivers who are forcing students to comply and wear masks are communists and are committing child abuse and have already been reported with the hundreds of others across the state. If you have proof that wear a face covering prevents COVID-19, please reach out to me directly and I would love to see the evidence, proof, and data. You all are wearing masks right now, but are you wearing masks at restaurants, malls, supermarkets, and other indoor places? I talked with administrators last school year who said they stay in their office so they don't have to wear the mask, but yet you force our children to with limited breaks.
1 minute.
Jeez. We're a country founded on freedom, liberty, and choice, and parents have the right to determine whether or not their child wears a face covering, not government. Please confirm the receipt of the email.
Okay, thank you.
The second one received was from Corey Huff today at 11:10 a.m. First of all, we greatly appreciate that masks are now mandated given the increased volume of reported COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations due to the Delta variant. We are even more appreciative that NLSD has opted to put students' health and safety ahead of politics and dangerous rhetoric. If this decision were to be rescinded, we would be forced to reconsider our options for our children's education, as we have an immune-compromised child who will not be able to be vaccinated for the foreseeable future. However, we are concerned at the lack of communication from the school district regarding positive cases. Our oldest has seasonal allergies, so we tested him at home and went home with an over-the-counter test after he became symptomatic Friday morning. Because we had not received any communication of positive cases at Peters Elementary, we assumed that they would be sufficient. However, the nurse confirmed this morning that there has been positive reported cases in the school since returning, and our son is being sent home without a medical release because of his allergies. How are we supposed to be able to make these decisions without any communication from the school? If we had known there was the chance for exposure, we would have gotten an official test performed right away and self-isolated appropriately. How will his absence be reconciled now that he will have additional time away from school because of this lack of communication?
Okay, thank you. Okay. And I want to thank the people who...
Does Mr. Link want to address any of that last communication?
Nothing specific to that
Okay.
child, but just as I noted in my update, and we have said several times at public meetings, the data is updated on the website at the end of each day on the COVID tracker per our health and safety plan.
Okay, I want to thank the two people who sent it in, and I want to thank everyone else who had spoken tonight. We hear you. All right. Anything else for the good of the order, anyone?
I have a question.
Sure.
A lot of people keep saying that mandates aren't laws. Is that true?
The Department of Health order is legally obligated to be followed. PDE has sent letters to school boards that have...
Can you repeat
Sure.
that, please? They're not hearing you
Sure.
out there.
The Department of Health order, until it is overturned in a court, has to be followed. PDE has sent letters to school boards that are refusing
to implement that order, indicating a variety of sanctions that can be filed against school board members. The biggest, in short, is that you would lose qualified immunity, meaning that if the district would be sued, you could be held personally liable. They go after your personal assets. So it is currently PD's position that we have to follow it, and until it's overturned, yes, you do.
Thank you.
No, I did make an announcement earlier how I was going to handle this meeting, and that included asking anyone from the table. Was prohibited, would be considering out of order. Thank you. Anyone else?
Do we have a chance to rebuttal then?
Pardon?
Do we have a chance to rebuttal those comments?
Public comment is over.
No.
No, no.
When will we have a chance?
Okay. Anyone else from the board?
Can I take my 5 minutes now that I have been neglected to speak before?
Public comment.
I'm going to rule that no. We're at the adjournment right now. We have taken our public comments, and we have given everyone an opportunity to do so at the proper times.
Bring it up at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Here. Do I have a second? Okay, it's moved to second. We are adjourned. Thank you very much for coming out this evening. Okay.
If you want to announce.
Roll call, please. Hold, please.
Certainly can under public comment.
Who was the second?
Okay, so who seconded? Who seconded it? Donna? Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead. Roll call, please.
Mr. Disler?
Here.
Mr. Green? Ms. Heckman? Ms. Husak? Yes. Mr. Keegan?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Ms. Culp?
Yes.
Ms. Martineau?
Yes.
Mr. Fedorcha?
Yes.
Motion passes for
We
adjournment.
are adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.